Be starting it. Uh, Today, we will be talking about. I'm sorry. जी बेनज़ीर कुछ कह रहे थे आप.
मैंने कहा सर 15 स्टूडेंट्स आ गए.
ओके
मेरा ख्याल है आप स्टार्ट कर दो.
ओके सो अब मैं वीडियो रिकॉर्डिंग भी स्टार्ट कर रहा हूँ.
होस्ट करके दे विल बी
राइट,
जॉइनिंग.
वीडियो रिकॉर्डिंग भी स्टार्ट कर दी है सो दैट यू विल बी एबल टू सी. सो हम स्टार्ट करते हैं. बिस्मिल्लाहिर्रहमानिर्रहीम. सबसे पहले अपना इंट्रोडक्शन दे दूं. कुछ लोग बार बार मेरे इंट्रोडक्शन पूछते हैं. आई डोंट नो व्हाई बट स्टिल my name is Dr. Nasser and I go by the name of Dr. Nasser Khan. My full name is Mohammad Nasser Saeed Khan. I worked as professor of psychiatry in Services Institute of Medical Sciences. I took a premature retirement and came to Canada. I am working here. I have done my FCPS in psychiatry. I was working as president Pakistan Psychiatric Society as well. Been an examiner for almost 25 years or so. Now I'm working in Canada, working as associate professor in Department of Psychiatry, Queen's University, Kingston, Canada at the moment. And I'll be presenting today on conversion disorders. I was supposed to present yesterday on medically unexplained symptoms, which is related to this disorder. But unfortunately, I was not able to do that because कराची में बारिश हो गई. बारिश की वजह से वहाँ पे सड़कें ब्लॉक हो गई और जिन होस्ट ने मेरी रिकॉर्डिंग करनी थी वो नहीं कर पाए. Sorry for that. But as soon as I believe probably now it is planned to be done on Wednesday around the same time, this time. And maybe I'll be able to share that recording or share the link with you. Kindly mute your mics, all of you, and also try to discontinue your videos. Thank you. No videos and mic should be muted. Then you'll be able to see me properly. Coming back again, so I'll be talking about this conversion disorder today, and I will try to cover up this topic as much detail as possible. I may not be able to cover everything today because it's a lengthy subject. Most of the studies quoted here are from Western literature, but some of them are quoted in the local literature as well. लोकल लिटरेचर में आपको रिलेटिवली पब्लिश्ड डाटा में कम चीज़ें मिलती हैं, बट जस्ट कीप एन आई ऑन इट. और जहाँ से भी कोई लोकल लिटरेचर मिले इसको ज़रूर पढ़ें. Now this conversion symptoms, they started with the phenomena, the case of Anna O, which was the famous case by Freud. And Freud started the basis of this term, which started from case of Anna O and hysteria. And then it continued and it modified. Various terminologies were given to it, and those terminologies were partly used still. Sometimes yes, sometimes no, but most of the time we do see this. Okay, so Mirza इकबाल का शेर है या मिर्ज़ा गालिब का ये शेर है. दर्द इतना है कि हर रग में है मैशर बरपा और सुकून ऐसा कि मर जाने को जी चाहता है. When people asked me in the beginning why you moved to Canada, so I always tell them the story that my wife thought that the way I was running in Pakistan as professor of psychiatry, examiner CPSP, and president Pakistan Psychiatric Society, and so many things to be done. So she thought that I will probably pass off, and she brought me to Canada. और जब मैं यहाँ आया तो यहाँ का जो काम का पेस है, ऑल्दो कि काम बहुत है, तो लोगों ने मुझे पूछा कि जी आप कैसा महसूस करते हैं. तो मैंने ये शेर उनको अक्सर सुनाया. दर्द इतना है कि हर रग में है मैशर बरपा और सुकून ऐसा कि मर जाने को जी चाहता है. So when I try to sit outside my home here, there is so much quietness that there is no noise, no rickshaw, no anything. So I feel कि सुकून ऐसा कि मर जाने को जी चाहता है. Anyway, coming back to the topic now, the somatoform disorders, which is the name given in DSM-4 TR and DSM-4, includes conversion disorders, hypochondriasis, somatization disorder, body dysmorphic disorders, and pain disorders. Unfortunately, because the name is changed in DSM-5 to something else, which I'll come back later, now these terms are relatively more confusing for the psychiatrists working in Pakistan. So there are number of the same terms with the same symptomatology and practically the same diagnostic criteria, but the names and the description varies. So DSM-4 explains somatoform disorders. In ICD-10 there is another name, and then DSM-5 gives another name, and there is dissociative disorders, which has 3-4 more categories, practically almost the similar disorder but different description. We'll talk somewhat about all of them so that I can try to correct your confusion, but I'm not sure how much I will be able to do that justification. So I will rely more on you so that you'll be able to tell me, ask me the question so that I can respond and clarify. So somatoform disorders, the definition: taking the form of soma with implication of non-somatic, unexplained disorder. Soma means organ. So the somatic is for somatic means in the organ. Somatoform means organ but not explained, the symptoms are not explained by the complaints related to that organ. So अगर एक पेशेंट मुझसे शिकायत करे कि मेरे पेट में दर्द है और इस जगह पे मिडल में दर्द है, सो मैं एज्यूम ये करूंगा कि प्रॉब्ली स्टमक की पेन है और स्टमक में जो भी डीडी है, जो मोस्ट कॉमन डीडी है, वो अल्सरेशन है. लेकिन अगर वो तमाम इन्वेस्टिगेशंस जो रिलेटेड टू दिस पेन हैं वो नेगेटिव हो जाएं और फिर भी वो पेन की सीवियर कंप्लेंट करे और आप उसको एंटासिड्स भी दे दें और बाकी पेन किलर्स भी दे दें और वो पेन ठीक ना हो रही हो, then these are unexplained disorder. While he is having pain of stomach, which cannot be explained on the basis of actual organ problem. यहाँ से somatoform का लफ्ज स्टार्ट हुआ. So somatoform means the problem associated with the organs but cannot be explained by the pathology in that organ. So that is somatoform. A broad group of illness with bodily sign and symptoms as the predominant focus, influenced by the psyche. Now when they are not explained on the basis of the symptoms and the organ pathology, then we assume that the pathology is somewhere else, which is mind. So the mind is the CPU, the computer, the brain is the controlling thing of all the organs in our body. Like stomach is controlled by the brain, the intestines are controlled by the brain, the respiratory system is controlled by the brain, the muscles are controlled by the brain. So something happening in the brain which leads to these symptoms in a specific organ but cannot be explained by organic pathology, then it is somatoform. I hope this is clear to you. Concept of mind and body interactions with signals from the brain indicating a problem. So there is a problem here in your central processing unit which leads to some pains somewhere in the system or abnormality in the system which cannot be explained by the system malfunctioning. Okay? So not based on theoretical construct or laboratory findings, no significant substantiating data, yet vigorous and severe complaints, not imaginary. So most of these complaints are genuine, most of these complaints are there, most of these complaints are present, they are not just the makar or frayed, but they are not explained by any of the investigations. So If a client comes to me, if a patient comes to me and he says that I am having stomach ulceration and he's taking 3 tablets of the stomach and a syrup and blah blah blah, and nothing is helping him or her, my idea is if the investigations are negative, the medications for the stomach are not helping, then probably it is the problem with the central processing unit, which is the brain, which is leading to some complication here, the symptom transmission. And why that specific organ, that is what is our concern, and that we need to clear, right? So if we'll be able to connect the vitality and malfunctioning of the organ to the brain and specific areas of the brain, we'll be able to correct it. If we won't be able to do that link, make that link or correct that link, then we'll be in trouble and the patient won't get well. So the whole of the burden comes to psychiatrist if there is no significant organ pathology. An illness of symptoms or deficit affecting voluntary, motor or sensory functions, which is part of the conversion phenomena. So motor system, sensory system, seizure disorders, anything could be there. Suggesting another medical condition but judged due to psychological factors because of preceding conflicts or other stressors. And when we try to take the history, the details from the patients, we understand that this pain or this problem started with a specific precipitating event or stressful life factor, and later on it worsened and worsened. But that history, retrospectively, going up to that point when the illness started and what triggered the illness is important in all conversion disorder patients. Symptoms or deficits are not intentionally produced, not due to substance, and not limited to pain or sexual symptomatology. So there is more than pain. There is more than that. So it's not only the pain, it's actually more than that. So it's a dysfunction, maybe associated with vomiting, diarrhea, maybe associated with cramps or any other thing, right? So gain is primarily psychological and not social, monetary or legal. When you say that this person is having these symptoms because of some specific stressor in life, and the psychological symptoms are converted into a physical symptom, that is conversion disorder. And that conversion disorder takes place with some primary gains, but these primary gains, whatever he is getting, are not social, monetary or legal. Maybe there is some overlap in it, but usually it's not like that. So you have to be careful about that too. A disturbance of bodily function not conforming to current concepts of neurological anatomy and physiology, characterized by presence of one or more neurological symptoms, unexplained by a known neurological or medical disorder. So if he's or she is having headache, then the headache cannot be explained by any other phenomena, many other abnormality. Usually the physicians label it as migraine, which is unspecified or something like that. But there is no neurological deficit, and the criteria for the migraine, if you go for it, it won't be fulfilled. Typically occurring in a setting of stress and producing considerable dysfunction. So the patient who is having this conversion disorder, she or he is dysfunctional. They are not able to perform the way they are. So the sleep may be disturbed, the appetite may be disturbed, the work is disturbed, everything is compromised. And then when it is compromised, I'm sorry, are the people joining me? So I'm hearing some voices. Okay, yeah, so people are joining about it. Okay, going ahead. So a disturbance of bodily function not conforming to current concepts of neurological anatomy and physiology, characterized by the presence of one or more of neurological symptoms, unexplained by a known neurological or medical disorder. Typically occurring in a setting of stress and producing considerable dysfunction and requiring for diagnosis the association of psychological factors present at the initiation or exacerbation of symptoms. Now, this is very, very important. If you are able to link a stressful situation in a person's life with the onset of the symptoms, you are a good psychiatrist, you have done your job. And if you are not able to link it, then probably you are stuck, and then patient won't get better till the time you will be able to do that. Unfortunately, this relationship is important, even explaining it to the family. So we cannot say to the family, which most of the doctors say, that this patient is having nothing. There is no disorder. There is nothing wrong with the patient. If there is nothing wrong with the patient, then why the patient is having a seizure? That is what the question is. And this is important for us as a psychiatrist. A disorder stemming from early concepts of hysteria by Freud, as I mentioned to you in the beginning, hypothesized that the symptoms of conversion reflect unconscious conflicts. Now, this is one explanation, that there are unconscious conflicts which leads to certain symptoms, which leads to a conversion disorder historically. But there is more to it, not only this. Now, DSM-5, as you know, I always talk about the latest diagnostic classification, but I will definitely let you know what ICD-10 says about it as well. So DSM-5, conversion disorders and dissociative disorders are now termed as functional neurological disorders. Or ICD-10 it is still conversion and dissociative. Now, why this term was made functional neurological disorder? The reason why they changed it from conversion to dissociation to functional neurological disorder is that when the soma is normal and the symptoms are of the soma related, when an organ is normal, evaluation of medical and other history and investigation, and the symptoms are related to it, this means there is a connection to the brain, the CPU, and because that connection does not give us an indication of some pathology in the brain, which is not evident on the MRI or the EEG or other brain testing, then this is not a pathology of the structure, it is the pathology of functioning of the brain. So that's the reason why they use functional neurological disorder. The functioning of the nervous system is not okay, so the person is having a conversion disorder. But unfortunately, these functional disorders labeled in the past were almost the similar. So हम घूम के probably माजी में फिर चले गए जब हिस्टीरिया को फंक्शनल डिसऑर्डर्स बोला जाता था, सिवाय इसके कि अब उन्होंने उसको नाम बदल के फंक्शनल न्यूरोलॉजिकल डिसऑर्डर का नाम दे दिया. फंक्शनल न्यूरोलॉजिकल डिसऑर्डर rather than functional disorders, which was the term used in the past. So I don't know how it will go in times to come, but overall, all of these terms are practically the same. The basic pathology is the same, and the basic pathology is abnormality of the neurological system leading to some emotional and physical symptoms in these disorders. Dissociation, conversion, functional neurological disorders are practically, or somatoform, are practically all correlate. Now the comorbidity is very high. Unfortunately, most of these symptoms of functional neurological disorder or dissociation or conversion have high comorbidity with other disorders. Anxiety, depression, we'll talk more about it later. So that is important as well. Some symptoms, but not severe enough to warrant diagnosis in 1/3 of general population. Now, can you imagine that अगर हमारे पास 100 मरीज आ रहे हैं तो उन 100 में से अगर हम 30 को कन्वर्जन का डायग्नोसिस दे रहे हैं तो ये 30 जो हैं ये वो फिगर्स रिप्रेजेंट कर रहे हैं जो एक्चुअल फिगर्स से बहुत कम है. So actually people suffer from conversion or functional neurological disorders in a much bigger manner than what is reported in the literature. 1/3 patients usually are not diagnosed or usually don't come for the treatment or usually they don't need a treatment. So this means that there is some self-remission in these disorders as well, which is a good thing for psychiatrists because in psychiatry the self-remission is very common and it helps us to cope with the living life. Like the current situation of the COVID, number of things probably will be self-remitting, but only if the self-remission is not achieved, then the disorder will be diagnosed. 25 to 30% of them which present to us needs admission and hospitalization. So the figures of 100, 1/3 are never diagnosed, self-remitting, 2/3 which are diagnosed, only 33 of them go for long-term problems, and of them only 30% means 1/3 needs admission. So the whole burden of the problem comes to hospitalization and comes to a very bare minimum level. Even then, sometimes in my ward, I was seeing 80% of the people suffering from conversion disorder. So you can imagine how big is the problem. Range in general population is 11 to 300 per 100,000, which comes out to be about 3%. 3% of general population, which is a big number. DSM-5 range says 1 to 500 of 100,000. So DSM-5 gives some more figures. I don't know how much actually it is in Pakistani community, but I am sure that it is much more than what the literature says, if we will go for epidemiological studies. There are multiple various studies quoted here for epidemiology of the conversion disorders. My presentation is uploaded in the group, so you can go through that. I won't be going into the details because I think I have to cover a few more important areas. Now, women suffers more than men. Range of 2:1 and 10:1 in adults. Increased female predominance in children. Symptoms in women more common on left side of the body. Now this is tricky. So most of the females who are coming to us, they will be having the paralysis or the affected component on the left side of the body. So the left arm, the left limb, or the left eye, or the left face, or the left side of the headache, or the left side of the pain in abdomen, and things like that. And mostly men on the right side. Why this difference is there? Maybe I'll be able to respond to it later on very soon in this presentation. Women with conversion symptoms more likely to be subsequently develop somatization disorder, which we have talked earlier. Association in men between conversion disorder and antisocial personality disorder is quite a big. So men who have conversion disorders, although it's relatively less commonly seen in Pakistan, I'm not talking about the international, but I'm just talking about my clinical experience, no studies quoting. So men are correlated with antisocial personality disorders. Men with conversion disorders often involved in occupation or military accidents, like bomb blast, like terrorism, like trauma, फौज में ज़्यादा है, और ये फौजी साइकियाट्रिस्ट ज़्यादा बेहतर इसकी प्रेवलेंस बता सकते हैं, but unfortunately as there are no as such hardcore epidemiological studies carried out for this disorder, so I don't know, I cannot comment on it, but this is what the literature says. Onset at any age, but most common in late childhood. Late childhood between the ages of 10 and 16 or 18, right? And early adulthood means 18 to 25. So, or after 35 but reported as late as 9th decade of life. So, this disorder is not age specific. Sometimes a woman of 55 comes to you with the conversion symptoms and you are surprised why at this age. Now, You have to remember it's common in younger age, but it is not uncommon in older age as well. So it is seen in older age as well. So men can of 60 years can be presenting with conversion symptoms. It can happen anytime in life, more common in early ages. Probability of occult neurological or other medical condition high with onset of symptoms in middle or old age. So जब मेरे पास पेशेंट अगर 50 साल की उम्र में आ रहा है और उसको फर्स्ट टाइम ये कन्वर्जन के सिम्टम्स हो रहे हैं, then first thing comes to my mind is neurological problem, and I will definitely rule it out without consideration, despite the fact that I am able to assess clearly the stress related factor and the onset of symptoms and the conversion phenomena, but I will definitely try to rule out because the percentage of having occult means hidden neurological disease is unfortunately there, and you should not take the chances of ruling it out. Kindly अपना mic mute कर दें जिन्होंने अभी join किया, शोर आ रहा है. Common prototypes, rural populations. अब हमारे यहाँ I don't know, things have changed. When people say rural population, rural still means related to the farming, related to the settings which are not very urbanized. But the other day, last time जब मैं पाकिस्तान आया और मैं travel कर रहा था लाहौर से मुल्तान by road, I was surprised to see. पहले लाहौर से मुल्तान जब आप ट्रैवल करते थे तो बीच में मीलों ऐसा फासला आता था जब सिर्फ खेत नज़र आते थे, आबादी नज़र नहीं आती. और अब लाहौर से मुल्तान सफ़र के दौरान जीटी रोड की बात करूँ, नॉट द मोटरवे, I was not able to see even a single patch without population, without urbanization, without developments having cell phone coverage or anything. So there is a shift in the urbanization. Lots of people are now urban. Kindly mute your mic, please. Thank you. So, developing nations like Pakistan, India, Bangladesh, Nepal, Sri Lanka, they are all developing nations, right? Persons with limited education and medical knowledge. Now, this Google has made people very much aware of the medical condition. So people can sit, type on it, and then even Google is available in Urdu now, so they can type the disease and they can get the results. And they come and ask you questions about it. So this unfortunately takes problem. I hope I am in the right track and not missing anything. So Benazir, अगर कोई ऐसी बात हो मुझे मैसेज कर देना या व्हाट्सएप कॉल कर देना. Okay, coming back. So persons with limited education and medical knowledge or decreased IQ. Now, this is again so tricky. I have mentioned it to you in my previous presentations as well, that IQ assessment unfortunately is not done as appropriately as it should be done in Pakistan than in West. In West, the IQ assessment is done with so many more reliable scales and people are expert in it. They spend time with patients and they assess the IQ. In Pakistan, we are still relying on some very primitive kind of scales which are used for IQ assessment, which is unfortunate. But if I feel on my assessment that this person is having some deficit somewhere in the cognitive functioning, I will definitely say that there is some IQ impairment or lower IQ thing. So we have to assess that. Lower socio-economic background. Now that bar has changed as well. Previously, a lower socio-economic background was dependent on the salary packages. Now the salary packages are variable. Now even the grade 1 person in Pakistan earns about 25 to 30,000 per month. If you compare it with the person who is doing a job in a private sector and earning about 8 to 10,000, I don't know which will I be able to rely more on socio-economic group. So that varies with time. So it's your clinical judgment how you want to rate, or you have to follow the World Health Organization or World Bank data for the socio-economic grouping. military personnel exposed to combat. Now, in civil society, in civil practice, as a psychiatrist, we don't see military people much. Some may be retired people, but majority of the military people are seen by the military psychiatrist or psychologist, so they are the best people to tell us about it. But I don't know the frequency. Increased frequency, relatives of probands with conversion disorder, monozygotic but not dizygotic twin pairs. Now this is actually tricky. Relatives of probands. अक्सर ये बात कही जाती है कि जी क्योंकि इसकी माँ को भी इसी किस्म की अलामतें होती थी इसलिए इसको भी होती है. Now there is definitely biological studies to prove that it can go in the other relatives, probands, and it is proven on the monozygotic twins as well. So be sure that you should quote this one, not on the basis of the reason why there is just modeling. Because बहन को होता था तो इसको भी होता है तो ये उसको देख के ऐसे करती है. I don't think so that is justified. Every individual has own stressor. Every stressor has own impact on the individuals depending upon the personality and other factors. So don't say कि ये उसको देख के modeling कर रही है. यहाँ पे scientific evidence available है कि इसमें genetic predisposition है. So it is more reliable than just the modeling because we won't be able to prove it. But this we can prove. Conversion disorders, epidemiology continued. Cultural norms are important consideration. The form of conversion may reflect cultural ideas about acceptable ways to express distress. For example, falling or an alteration of consciousness. Behaviors resembling conversion or dissociative symptoms are aspects of certain culturally sanctioned religious and healing ceremonies. So हमारे यहाँ अगर आप में से लोगों ने देखा हो कि जिन कैसे निकालते हैं या तावीज़ों का इलाज कैसे होता है या हकीम बाबा साहब कैसे हील करने की कोशिश करते हैं, so you would be able to understand it. And I will recommend all of you, all the residents and other people, to at least visit these people once in your lifetime because you should know how they are treating and what they are treating and the methodologies what people are accepting. So जिन निकालना कैसे वो acceptable है हमारी society में कि जिन निकालने का इलाज ये है, and you people should be able to understand that as well. It's important for us to manage our clients, not contradicting their belief system. So this is again an important area in the examination that you have to convey the information to the family without challenging their belief system. Because if you start challenging their belief system, then you'll be in trouble. And as a professional, I cannot say to the people that Bhaijan, ye galat hai. No, I cannot do that. I have to keep that thing in consideration, what actually their belief system is, if I really want to treat them. So common psychiatric conditions comorbid with the conversion disorders, depressive disorders. We conducted a study, it was published in 2009. It is available on the internet and we saw that the prevalence of anxiety and depressive disorders is very high. One of my trainee, but he's my colleague as well. He is the head of psychiatry in one of the big institutions in Pakistan in Multan. So he's a big man and he was a big man at that time as well. He was part of, partly with me when we published this study and he was of great help, Dr. Naimullah Lagari. And I'm sure if sometime he will listen to it, he will enjoy this. We had a very good time when we were trying to study conversion disorders, birth orders and anxiety disorders, and we enjoyed discussing this a lot. Back in 2009, so it's been a long time ago. Somatization disorders are common. Conversion disorders even is seen in schizophrenia. Now, there are times when residents feel that if we have diagnosed a person with schizophrenia, he is free from everything. No, he can have even conversion disorders. Reported but considerably uncommon, but it is seen. At least half of the admission in psychiatric unit for conversion disorders have significant mood or schizophrenia. Mood or schizophrenia. I'm not talking about only mood disorder or only schizophrenia. So lots of comorbidity. And personality disorders, of course, histrionic up to 21%, passive aggressive dependent 40%, antisocial, as I mentioned to you earlier. Medical and especially neurological disorders occur frequently with elaboration of symptoms stemming from original organic lesion. So a person was actually having migraine and then started having conversion disorder and started having headaches related to conversion disorders unrelated to migraine. And then it is very difficult for a person diagnosing what comes first and what to be treated first. That's a tricky situation. But as a psychiatrist, I always say to my residents that you have to be a good investigator. जैसे खुफिया एजेंट information हासिल करते हैं, you have to be like that if you really want to make sure that your patients get well. So conversion disorders, etiology, psychoanalytical factors, Freud, you all people know, I don't have to go into that details, but I will touch it. Learning theories and biological factors. This is what I believe is most important, because I am a biological psychiatrist, so I believe more into this, but it can be explained on the other theories and other treatment strategies as well. इकबाल ने बोला, जफा जो इश्क में होती है वो जफा ही नहीं, सितम ना हो तो मोहब्बत में कुछ मजा ही नहीं. So unless or until you will have that pain, you won't enjoy even love. So you enjoy love and you miss love only when you suffer from pain, not otherwise. I'm sorry for that, but there are few parameters which are just mine, so people don't agree with it, because I believe as a professional psychiatrist, I believe in few things which I try to explain in other areas as well. And when sometimes I say something like this, people do feel that I am offending. I'm not offending anyone, it's just my idea. So psychoanalytical factors, repression, anxiety into a physical symptoms. Symptoms allow partial although disguised expression of the forbidden wish or urge. Conversion disorder symptom has symbolic relation to the unconscious conflict. Symptoms communicate need for special consideration, and individual may derive secondary gain with symptoms. So अभी भी हम उस primary gain और secondary gain को explain करते हैं और treat भी करते हैं. But again, this is one viewpoint. The other viewpoint, learning theory, conversion disorder considered as a piece of classical condition, learned behavior. So हम उसके basis पे भी treat कर सकते हैं. Symptoms of illness learned in childhood are called forth as a means of coping with an otherwise impossible situation. So this COVID, and our children are coping with it, we don't know how they will behave in 10 years from now when they are restricted at home and they are not allowed to go out and play even. So that's tricky. Let's see, it won't impact. The biological factor, this is, I want to explain more. One, brain imaging. Hypometabolism of dominant hemisphere is seen in conversion disorder. Hypermetabolism of non-dominant hemisphere is seen in conversion. And this is the reason why women suffer more symptoms on the left side and men suffer more symptoms on the right side. Describing on this basis. Impaired hemispheric communication. So the right brain and the left brain connection, corpus callosum and other commissural fibers, probably there is some miscommunication there, which leads to conversion symptoms, dissonance of thoughts and feelings and emotions, and expressing it as a conversion disorder. Corticofugal feedback, excessive cortical arousal setting off negative feedback loops between the cortex and the reticular formation with inhibition. which leads to convergent symptoms. I know that this is a little bit too much at the postgraduate levels at your point, but this is a too amazing phenomena. If you start reading about the excessive cortical arousal, setting off negative feedback loops between cortex and reticular formation, it's an amazing network. And if you'll be able to read it, if you have time, you will enjoy it. Neuropsychological testing, subtle cerebral impairments in verbal communication, memory, vigilance, affective incongruity, and attention, all are important biologically if they are assessed in neuropsychological battery. ये भी बड़ा एक आयरनी सिचुएशन है कि न्यूरोसाइकोलॉजिकल बैटरीज भी हम लोग अभी भी प्रिमिटिव टाइम की इस्तेमाल करते हैं अपने क्लिनिकल सेटिंग्स में, और उसकी मुझे आज तक वजह समझ नहीं आई. आई बॉट लूरिया नेब्रास्का, द लेटेस्ट वर्जन ऑफ लूरिया नेब्रास्का टेस्ट, which is a neuropsychological battery for my department, and I believe it was used hardly 3 times in 5 years because of multiple reasons. I don't know. I don't want to talk about it. But this is unfortunate. So we have to make sure that we should try to bring the new neuropsychological assessment battery into that country and then utilize it, not put it in the cupboard and then lost. Increased incidence with head trauma and organicity. Please mute your mic. Thank you. Okay. Now, convergent disorder diagnosis. DSM-5 limits to those symptoms that affect a voluntary, motor or sensory function. Functional neurological symptoms. So, DSM-5 में dissociative disorders में there is fugue, amnesia and identity disorders. And here in conversion there are motor, sensory or seizure disorders. But and in ICD-10 as well. But they have limited it. But there are more symptoms than what I'm just talking about. One or more symptoms or deficit affecting voluntary, motor or sensory function that suggest a neurological or other general medical condition but cannot be explained on that basis. Psychological factors are judged to be associated with symptom or deficit because the initiation or exacerbation of the symptom or deficit is preceded by conflicts or other stressors. The symptom or deficit is not intentionally produced or feigned. Makar nahi hai. The symptom or deficit cannot, after appropriate investigation, be fully explained by general medical condition. Unfortunately, this is too tricky, especially in liaison psychiatric places, where the gastroenterologist keeps on treating the ulcerative, the acid peptic disease for years and years, and people keep on taking the medication for that, and they don't mind it. But if a psychiatrist prescribes a medication even for 3 months, oh, they create a chaos. Ye dawai na khana, ae lag jayegi. This is unfortunate. This is very unfortunate. So, specific type of symptoms of deficit with motor symptom deficit, with sensory symptom deficit, with seizure or convulsions, with mixed presentation. This can be again seen anytime during the course, and comorbidity is common. Most common symptoms are paralysis, blindness and mutism. Mutism, khamosh ho gaye. वैसे चुप का रास्ता is the best rasta when you don't feel. Now what could be these symptoms? So this is another thing. I'm sorry I'm stopping it here, but I will definitely would like to take your feedback whether you want me to continue and finish it up, or you want me to stop it here and continue with it later on. Anybody? क्यों बेनज़ीर?
कंटिन्यू कर ले.
Sure about it? तंग तो नहीं पड़ेंगे, थक तो नहीं जाएंगे?
नहीं सर, 26 तकरीबन स्टूडेंट्स तो हैं.
Okay, no, I don't mind that. I have time, so I can continue. Okay, sensory symptoms, anesthesia, paresthesia are common. Distribution of neurological deficit inconsistencies are common: hemianesthesia, midline anesthesia, deafness, blindness, tunnel vision, unilateral or bilateral, intact sensory pathways by neurological examination, and having symptoms. Even when I was trying to teach you, I don't know, कुछ students उस वक्त थे, कुछ नहीं थे, just phenomenology or psychopathology in psychiatry, I was talking about aesthesia abasia. Aesthesia abasia is the term used when people feel that they fall here and they fall there and they are not able to keep their balances. So that is important. Unilateral or bilateral. Conversion disorder, blindness, ability to walk around without collision or self-injury, with pupils reactive to light and normal cortical evoked potentials. This is again unfortunate that evoked potentials are very basic and simple test, but available in very few areas in neurology in Pakistan. Motor symptoms: abnormal movements, gait disturbances, weakness and paralysis, worsen with calling of attention, rhythmic tremors, chorea, tics, jerks, aesthesia, abasia, paralysis, paresis of one or two or all four limbs. Reflexes remain normal, no fasciculation, no muscle atrophy, and normal electromyography as well. Seizure symptoms: pseudo seizures, differentiation from true seizures difficult by clinical observation. 1/3 of those with pseudo seizures have coexisting epileptic disorder. So, clear cut, clinically you can see that this is pseudo seizure, but when you go for an EEG, it will turn out to be positive. And then you will be confused whether to treat true epilepsy seizure or whether to treat the pseudo seizures. You know that this is conversion, but there is a change in the EEG. You know that this is true seizure and there is no change in EEG. It's sometimes the call of judgment, it's call of the clinical acumen, how to treat and what to treat and when to treat. Tongue biting, urinary incontinence, injuries after falling can occur. Usually they are not seen, but there is a possibility that some of the patients will come up with this idea and they will say that. Pupillary and gag reflexes are usually retained. No past seizures increase in prolactin concentration. You go for the blood test and the prolactin levels are normal. And you say that this was pseudo seizures and it's confusing. So you have to be careful about these things as well. Associated psychological symptoms: the primary gain, the secondary gain, the la belle indifference and identification. Now, la belle indifference, primary gain and secondary gain and identification, I won't talk more about it because the psychologist can explain to you better, but maybe I will touch these in next slides. La belle indifference is important. Back when I was getting the training and my mentor was again giving us the clues about it, this was very common. This was very common. The effect was not so much distressing as the presentation was. That is la belle indifference. There are more details to it, but maybe I will come back to it later on. अहमद फराज का एक शेर है, छोटी छोटी ब्रेक ले लेता हूँ ताकि आप लोग थोड़ा ज़्यादा तंग ना पड़े। मेरा उस शहर अदावत में बसेरा है जहाँ लोग सजदों में भी लोगों का बुरा सोचते हैं. Unfortunate. This is quite true in psychiatry. Associated psychological symptoms: primary gain. Primary gain are the internal conflicts remain outside awareness. Secondary gain: tangible advantages and benefits as a result of being sick. So I don't have to get up, I don't have to take bath, I don't have to prepare meals, I don't have to wash the dishes, I don't have to go to the job. All of these could be the secondary gains, one way or the other. Inappropriate cavalier attitude towards serious symptoms. एक शख्स अंधा हो गया और वो उसको अंधे होने का डिस्ट्रेस ही नहीं है. That is la belle indifference. एक शख्स के अपाहिज हो गया है, टांग पे फालिज पड़ गया है, लेकिन उसको वो उसकी इंटेंसिटी के हिसाब से डिस्ट्रेस नहीं है. That is la belle indifference and it is very significant. So when you are talking to the patient, you amount engaged clinically, the distress with the disorder they are presenting, and you feel that there is some disparity. Identification, unconscious modeling of symptoms after someone considered important to the patient. With pathological grief reaction, bereaved persons commonly have symptoms of the disease. जो मर गया था उसी की कॉपी करना शुरू हो गए. No specific standard laboratory test for the conversion disorders. Unfortunately, it is still there. Absence of the test supports the diagnosis. Experimental psychopathophysiology, unique sympathetic nervous system response as measured by skin conductance upon exogenic stimulus. More rapid cortical evoked potential spikes in contralateral sensory cortex upon physical stimuli. This is an important test, and if by any chance you would be able to see the evoked potentials doing in a laboratory setting, it's amazing. It's very nice how you correlate it with the psychiatric morbidity. So conversion disorders, differential diagnosis. The most important condition in the differential diagnosis is neurological or other general medical condition or substance abuse. मैं हर दफ़ा कहता हूँ कि एग्जाम में 3 चीज़ों को रूल आउट करें, उसके बाद psychiatric diagnosis बनाए. General medical condition, substance abuse and neurological disorders, and only then make a diagnosis of conversion disorder, despite the fact that you know that apparently this is conversion. You were able to see the correlation of the stressors, the primary and secondary gains, but even then, please rule out these 3: neurological conditions, general medical conditions, and substance abuse, and only then label them. Otherwise, don't do that. 25 to 50% of the cases classified as conversion disorders eventually receive diagnosis of neurological or non-psychiatric medical disorders. So this is a very high number. This means that every second person is having some neurological problem, which you may be able to treat it by yourself. You may not need the desired neurologist to treat it, but still the morbidity is high, so we have to be careful. Differential diagnosis continues, so there are other neurological disorders. I won't be going into the details of it, but you have this presentation, so go ahead with it. Dementia, brain tumors, myasthenia gravis, multiple sclerosis, polymyositis, optical neuritis, partial vocal cord paralysis, Guillain-Barré syndrome, Creutzfeldt-Jakob disease, AIDS, idiopathic sarcoma-induced osteomalacia, and acquired hereditary drug-induced dystonias. This is the list of the differential neurological medical disorders that you have to rule out. And I can assure you, ये जितने बड़े नाम हैं, इतना टाइम नहीं लगता इसको रूल आउट करने में. It's not very difficult. All you have to do is do a neurological examination. हमारे यहाँ ये ट्रेंड है कि हमें शक पड़ता है कि इसको न्यूरोलॉजिकल डेफिसिट है. हम न्यूरोलॉजी वालों को कॉल भेजते हैं, वो आके न्यूरोलॉजी का एग्जामिनेशन करते हैं और कहते हैं कि है या नहीं है. हम खुद न्यूरोलॉजिकल एग्जामिनेशन नहीं कर सकते. बट बिलीव मी, in the examination situation, you are supposed to do the neurological examination. And even in clinical settings, you are supposed to do the neurological examination. So you must know, and you should be able to rule all of them out. All of them out. And it's not very difficult. If you won't be able to do that, you are unfortunately not a good psychiatrist. So conversion disorder differential diagnosis, psychiatric diagnosis, schizophrenia, depressive disorders, anxiety disorders, and dual diagnosis of dissociative conversion occurring together. Somatization disorders, hypochondriasis, body dysmorphic disorders, pain disorders, and sexual dysfunction. We never ask about the sexual dysfunction, and I can assure you it's a very high comorbid condition which exists and leads to conversion symptoms. Do ask. वो कैसे करते हैं, क्या करते हैं? वो हम बात किसी और फोरम पे कर सकते हैं. Malingering and fictitious disorder. This is critical in the end. Symptoms under conscious voluntary control. History with malingering usually more inconsistent and contradictory than with conversion, and fraudulent behavior clearly goal directed with malingering. This is unfortunately tricky, but it is there. Distinct physical findings. 1. Tunnel vision. विजुअल फील्ड्स का टेस्ट करें, पेरीमेट्री जो आप करते हैं और करना चाहिए, आपको पता चल जाएगा. प्रोफाउंड मोनोऑकुलर ब्लाइंडनेस, swinging flashlight sign, binocular visual fields, you will be able to differentiate. Severe bilateral blindness, wiggle your fingers, I'm just testing coordination, sudden flash of bright light, look at your hand, touch your index finger, ask these questions and you will be able to differentiate. Aphonia, request to cough. They will cough and aphonia ruled out. Intractable sneezing, you just observe and it will be clear and you'll be able to differentiate. Coma, examiner open eyes, ocular cephalic maneuver and you'll be able to rule out. Now, how these procedures are done, I'm not going into that details because that needs another setting. Syncope, head up tilt test and you'll be able to rule out. Anesthesia, map the dermatomes, you'll be able to rule out. Hemianesthesia, check midline. Aesthesia basia, walking and dancing. Paralysis and paresis, hand drop onto the face, Hoover test and check motor strength and you will be able to rule out. Initial symptoms resolve within a few days to a month. In 90 to 100%, 95% remission spontaneously, usually within 2 weeks. 75% have no further episodes, with 20 to 25 recurring within a year during the periods of stress. But 50% present later with neurological disorders or neuropsychiatric medical condition affecting the nervous system, and this is a high number. Predictors of good prognosis: sudden onset, good prognosis. Easily identifiable stressor, good prognosis. Good premorbid adjustment, good prognosis. No comorbid psychiatric or medical condition, good prognosis. No ongoing litigation, good prognosis. Short duration, good prognosis. Short interval between onset and initiation of treatment, good prognosis. Above average intelligence, good prognosis. And lastly, paralysis, aphonia, blindness, good prognosis, and bad prognosis otherwise. Acute stress, reassurance, resolution, usually spontaneous. Psychotherapy, a relative contraindication. If there is any, then you cannot go for it. Otherwise, that is the best option. Then pharmacotherapy, I'll talk about that. In our study, we found that the anxiety and depressive symptoms were almost 70%, which was a very high number. And I believe in antidepressant or anxiolytic medication, people do get response. So if there is no self-remission in 2 weeks' time, and it lingers on to more than 4 weeks, and things starts getting chronic, try antidepressant, it will help. And the psychotherapy, we have talked about the psychotherapies earlier, so I won't be talking about it. Insight-oriented supportive behavior therapy, psychodynamic approaches to help, and references as a whole. Thank you very much for listening to me. Any questions and I'll be there. Oops. Sorry, मैं कहाँ रुक गया?
अभी डिस्कनेक्ट हो गया.
कहाँ पे डिस्कनेक्ट हुआ?
Good prognosis.
Okay, good prognosis. Okay, so I will just try to go for the good prognosis and then okay, recording भी रुक गई इसलिए Good prognosis, sudden onset, easily identify stable stressors, good pre-morbid adjustment, no comorbid psychiatric conditions, no ongoing litigation, short duration, short interval between onset and initiation of treatment, above average intelligence, paralysis, aphonia, blindness. And then I was just talking about the treatment, psychotherapy, the treatment of choice. We have covered few of the psychotherapies that is best if you talk about that. And last, again, I talked about the treatment, which is important, right? Thank you very much for listening to me. I hope you are still there. Are you people are still there?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Any questions?